Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Treasure Peter and this is Treasure's Craft. On today's tutorial, I'll be making this beautiful dress with a Basque waistline and button in front. Do well to watch till the end if it's something you're interested in. I actually made use of just 2 yards of plain fabrics to achieve this. So guys, stick around till the end and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop other videos, you'll be notified. Thank you. So guys, for this gown I made use of 2 yards of crepe material. I won't advise you to actually use 2 yards. The reason why I used 2 yards was because I already had the material at home and I was looking for something to wear for a wedding and I didn't have time to go to the market and it was Friday night already. I just needed to look for what to wear for that wedding the next day. That was why I had to manage 2 yards. So guys, I would advise you to use at least 3 yards or even 4 yards if you want to get a very full gathers at the down part. So guys, for the plain fabric I made use of crepe material, but I discovered cotton material would be best. There is a cotton material called shirt material. When you go to the market, just ask for shirt material, especially if you are within Nigeria. So guys, for the lace I made use of this chantilly lace. It's a little bit stretchy, although mine wasn't up to 1 yard because I had it at home already, but I'll recommend that you make use of 1 yard. So I'll first draft it on my pattern paper first before cutting it out on the fabric. So I kept my pattern paper at once and I proceeded to mark my starting line, which is the beginning line, and from that beginning line I went ahead to measure my shoulder to my bust point and I marked what I had. From there I also marked my shoulder to my waistline. I actually used my normal waistline, not the half length, and then from there I proceeded to check my full length and I had 24 inches, so that means I'm adding extra 7 inches to my actual waistline for the back extension. I proceeded to draw the lines across. So guys, at the starting line, which is the shoulder line, I proceeded to measure my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I marked what I had. Then I went ahead to measure my neck width of 3 inches by 3 inches neck depth. This is not our actual neck measurement. I'm just taking it for the meantime. At the shoulder point, I came down with 1 inch and I connected it back to my neckline to form the shoulder slant. From the shoulder slant, I went ahead to take my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. I had 7 inches and I marked and I drew the line across like so. So this is going to form my chest line. On the chest line, I measured my shoulder measurement divided by 2 again and connected it back to the shoulder point at the shoulder slant point. So guys, I'm just taking time to explain this whole process for beginners' sake. From the shoulder slant to the chest line, I measured to mark the midpoint. After getting the middle point, I went in by ½ inch, and then at the chest line, I measured my bust circumference divided by 4, and then I used my armhole curve to just connect the line like this to form the armhole. So guys, I actually forgot to measure my shoulder to under bust. It's actually very necessary because of how the gown is. So I went ahead to measure from my shoulder to my under bust point. I marked what I had. I drew the line across like so. Then I proceeded to label my lines: my chest line, bust point, under bust, waistline, and the back's length. The next thing I did was to take my dart. So I measured my nipple to nipple point. I marked what I had on the under bust, on the bust point, on the waistline, as well as the full length. Then I connected the points together. So guys, for the actual neck depth of this gown, I decided to go up with 1 inch from my chest line. You can actually use your chest line depending on how you want it. I wanted mine to cover. That was why I went up with 1 inch, and then I connected the line to form a straight line. So this is going to be our neck depth, and then I connected my nipple to nipple point to reach the new neck depth in this manner. So guys, at this point I proceeded to take in my dart. In order to do that, from the waistline I came in and went out with ½ inch. At the chest line I came down with 1 inch. Then I connected the lines to form my dart. So guys, the next thing I did was to take my body circumference measurements. At the waistline, I took my waist measurements divided by 4. I marked what I had and I replaced my dart of 1 inch. So guys, I didn't take my actual waist circumference. I actually took 27 inches. Meanwhile, my waist circumference is actually 28, so I shortened it with 1 inch. This is because I wanted it to be snatched in a way, and my fabric was also stretchy. I went ahead to connect from my waistline to the chest line. So the next thing I'll be doing is to work on the cups. So to do that, on the chest line I came in with ½ inch. That's on the new neckline, not the chest line, and then I connected the cuff from my underbust to meet the ½ inch point at the neckline using my armhole curve. You can actually use your free hand. So guys, at this point I proceeded to measure the width of my neck. To take the width of the neck, I came in with 1½ inch from my shoulder line at my new neckline and then connected it back to the actual neck width at the up part. After that, I proceeded to measure from my bust point to the under bust point. What I had, I extended it at the bust point on the other side and then connected it in this manner using my French curve to complete the cup area. So guys, this is it. Our cup part is ready. The next thing I'm going to do now is to take the back area. So I just proceeded to keep the ruler in a straight form like this to just bring out the V, and then I connected it in this manner. So that's all for drafting of this front pattern. So guys, before cutting the front pattern out, I'm going to go ahead to take out the neck for the back so that I'll be able to just use this one pattern to also cut out the back. So for the neckline, I came down with 1½ inch for my neck depth, and then I connected it back to the actual neck width to form my back neck. After that, I went ahead to cut it out. So guys, I placed it on another fabric at this point to bring out the back. I added my zip allowance and I also added my seam allowance at the side. So I went ahead to just mark out my zip allowance, and then I went ahead to cut it out, adding ½ inch at the down part and ½ inch at the shoulder part also. So guys, if you notice, I did not eliminate my dart on the pattern paper before doing it on my fabric, so I'll be taking it on my fabric right now through my zipper allowance. From around my chest line, I proceeded to take out my dart in this manner, the way we normally take our dart, and then I went ahead to cut it out around the zipper allowance part. This is because I do not want to sew the dart for it to show. So guys, for the front, I proceeded to cut out the neckline and also cut out the armhole to make it the normal armhole for the front. And then I proceeded to also cut out the cup, and also I went ahead to eliminate the dart. I couldn't find my paper tape, so I had to use the gum to just gum it very well. So guys, in the process of actually closing the dart, there was a shortness around this area, so when I place it on the fabric, I'm going to take note of that part while cutting. So guys, I went ahead to pin it down first. I kept my fabric on fold for the front, and then I added 1 inch at the up part. I added ½ inch around the cup area, and then I added my normal seam allowance at the side, and then at the down part, just look at the way I cut it. I took note of this area. So guys, for the cup part, I went ahead to just slash it into 4 parts, and then I went ahead to label it so I would know how to place it, and I went ahead to use the slash and spread method in order to cut it out on my fabric. So guys, I added 1 inch allowance at the up part and ½ inch around the cup area, and then for the spread I used 1 inch for each spread. So guys, I proceeded to cut it out. I took note of where the center front is and where the side front is. I went ahead to also cut it out on my lace, so I will go ahead to the machine to sew the lace on it. So guys, for the shoulder area, I also proceeded to cut it. I added ½ inch at this up part and ½ inch at the down part and the neck area, and then I proceeded to cut out 2 pieces for each. I cut out the lace for each, and I also cut out the facing for it. So guys, I'll take it to my machine to sew this part with ½ inch, and I'll use my aiming gum for that. So guys, I also proceeded to cut the facings for the back neckline, and I'll take it to my machine to also sew the neck. So for this is what I have after I was done sewing it. As you can see, it's looking very neat. The next thing we are going to do is to work with the cups. I have gone ahead to top stitch on the cups. So take note of the side part and the center part. So guys, I went ahead to just use it to form a gathers around the cup area. So guys, make sure the gathers is concentrated at the down part of this under bust area. You can decide to run a loose stitch around before you do that, but I just decided to just proceed to sew it at once on my machine. So guys, I'll do that and show you guys what I have. This is it after running the gathers. This is what we had. So guys, I'm not going to be using any facing or any lining. What I'm going to do is to weave that cup area. Next thing I went ahead to do was to join the neck. So I went ahead to join it in this manner from where my armhole starts from, with half an inch. So guys, this was what I had after joining it. The next thing I'm going to do is to use this strap to turn it in so it will be neat, and I'll also use the hole of the strap to actually pass the rope. So I went ahead to just sew it in this manner. So guys, make sure you keep the sleeves part very well before sewing it so it will be well arranged. So guys, after sewing it, this was what I had. As you can see, the hole that the rope will pass through is okay. It's not too small and it's not too wide. So the next thing I'll do is to go ahead to cut out this part at the center part of the front. Just cut it out to have a space where my rope is going to pass through. I went ahead to sew this rope, these two ropes. So just take the length of the rope that you know is okay. For the length of the rope, mine was actually 18 inches for each. So guys, in order to pass it through that hole, I used a broomstick and a thread to tie it around the rope, and then I went ahead to pass it through from the hole at the armhole area, and I brought it out at the center part of the front part. After that, I'll go ahead to sew it at the edge to secure it around the armhole part. I'll do the same thing to the other side and show you guys what I had. So guys, this was what I had. As you can see, our front part is ready. I had also gone ahead to turn the facing of the neck of the back. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the shoulder back to the shoulder front with ½ inch. So guys, this is it. After joining the shoulder back to the shoulder front, I proceeded to join my sleeves. I have done several tutorials on how to cut the sleeves. If you do not know how to cut it, I'll drop the link on my description box below, so you go ahead to watch it. So I'll go ahead to join the sleeves. After joining the sleeves, this was what I had. Next thing I'm going to do now is to close the side. So I'm going to hem the sleeves, then I'll close the side according to my measurement. So I like closing the sides before attaching the gathers part. So for this gathers part, what I did was, for the length, I started from the length of my original length. So my original length was actually 24 inches. So I started from 23.5 and then I marked the length of my gown. I wanted my full length to be about 48 inches. So I proceeded to cut it at that 48 inches, adding my hemming allowance. So guys, because I had just 2 yards of this fabric, I had to manage my material. I went ahead to cut this one into 2, and I'm going to join it with my hemming gum. After joining it with my hemming gum, here is what I had. So I'm going to iron it out. The reason why I use hemming gum to open it and join it is because I want to iron it and I want it to look neat. I don't want it to show that there is a joining at that part. So I'll just go ahead to open up the seams and iron it very well. So this is just an arc. If you want to join, if you want to do a joining and you do not want it to show, try to use this method. So guys, at this point I was trying to open it up to iron it. So guys, note that I do not want to run gathers for the front differently and for the back differently. That is why I'm joining it in this manner. I want to run one gathers at once, and this is also in a bid to actually manage my material because I had just 2 yards. So because of that, I want to close the upper part first before attaching the down part. So as you can see guys, it's looking so neat already. The joining is not showing, it has blended in because of the hemming gum. So guys, for the overall width of this gathers part, I went ahead to measure it by yardage, and I discovered that I had about 3.5 yards, which in total was about 126 inches. So guys, at this point you can go ahead to sew a loose stitch and use it to drag your gathers and form the gathers. So for me, I just want to do it at once. This was the upper part after closing the side, so I just want to take it to my machine to do the gathers at once on it. So if you're not a professional, it will be very necessary for you to sew a loose stitch before running the gathers, and for you to achieve this very perfectly, you need to determine the center part of the down part and make sure that it aligns with the center part of the front of the upper part. So guys, I'll do it off the camera and I'll show you guys what I have. So guys, this was what I had after sewing it. As you can see, the gathers is evenly distributed. As a professional, it's easy to do this, but if you are actually a learner or a beginner, I would advise that you do not use this method. I advise you go ahead to run a loose stitch before that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fix my zip. To do that, I proceeded to measure the length of my zip, and then I went ahead to close the zipper allowance, and then I'll go ahead to also hem the down part and fix my zip, and I will show you guys the overall results of my gown. I also proceeded to add the buttons. Note, for the buttons I used size 30 to do the cover buttons for it. So guys, this was the outcome of this gown. This is the final look of this gown. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you've watched up to this point, do well to hit that subscribe button if you've not, and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, you'll be notified. See you guys in my next video. Bye.